I found another director I absolutely do not click with, and another film to go on my worst of 2025. I'm speaking of The Mastermind, a film I saw a couple weeks ago at the Regal Mystery Movie Monday. It was directed by Carrie Reichardt, if that's how you pronounce her name correctly. I went in thinking that it was going to be a story of a real life art heist that happened in the 70s. I thought it was actually going to be about the art heist in England, but it was about one in somewhere in Massachusetts. But it was not about that. It was inspired by that real event. I would have preferred to see a documentary about the real event than this terrible movie. I've already had a live stream discussion about it with deleted scenes, and we both are in agreement about how bad this film is. I expected something closer to a tense true crime thriller, and instead I got this lame-ass art house drama. The lady next to us in the theater, when it was done, she said, "You know what this felt like? It felt like a senior thesis that someone did in art school." And that probably is a very accurate way to describe this. I mean, the artsy, fartsy, smartsy, pretentious, boring ass attitude of this film ruined it for me. The acting was fine. This is not a knock on the performers at all. They were fine, but the writing was terrible. The pacing was awful. I didn't give a crap about the characters at all. So it follows this character named James, played by Josh O'Connor. He is a suburban dad. He's unemployed. He's kind of like deadbeaty. And he is the mastermind behind this art heist that happens. He deceives his family because he pretends that he has a job to his mother or an upcoming job, and he bums money off her for that. And you can tell by their interaction that he's got a history of being kind of deadbeaty and asking money from his mom. That immediately turned me off to him as a character, and I don't think you're necessarily supposed to like him, because by that point in the movie, you already know that he's planning this heist. But if I'm given a character in a film that I actively dislike and wish bad things on, that's not a good thing for the film, especially if I have no connection to other characters at all. I just don't care, like how I felt about this film. He decides to plan this heist with 3 other people, and one of the guys backs out, and then this other sort of last minute guy comes in, and that's what spells trouble, because things don't go right, of course, after the heist is carried off. Basically, the whole rest of the movie is him trying to avoid paying the consequence for his actions. This movie was extremely slow-paced. It was one of the slowest movies I feel like I've ever seen, and it was at least 20 to 30 minutes too long. An hour and 40 something minutes. Correction. The movie is more like an hour and 50 minutes. There was an obnoxious overuse of long, meaningless, lingering, meandering shots that mean nothing to the overall story. In my notes about this film, because I was typing with a dim screen on my phone, I meant to write shots linger too long. What I accidentally typed was shits linger too long. And you know what? That actually fits. Oh my gosh. I think this film could have worked better as a 60-minute movie, if that. This director is apparently known for her indie sort of minimalist storytelling, sort of aimless storytelling, like what this sort of was. I can't say this was aimless because there was a plot, but basically the plot was him trying to escape his bad situation, and he's running all over the place. He did not plan this thing out at all, which is why it's hilarious that he was considered a mastermind, because he was really stupid, and he was told multiple times he didn't think it out very well. But if this is the type of movie that she typically does and is known for, I don't think I want to watch any of her other movies ever again. There are some directors I just don't click with. She's one of them, apparently. This is the first film of hers I've seen, and I have no desire to watch anything else she ever does. Just no thank you. There were some things I liked about it. It had a grainy look, and the cinematography felt natural-ish 1970s aesthetic. There was a jazz-heavy sort of soundtrack that was very reminiscent of 70s movies, you know, like especially crime movies where people are driving down the street or whatever and things are getting ready to happen and it's playing this just aimless jazz music, which I can't stand jazz anyway. But that was so overused, it was distracting and super annoying. Like my feelings about jazz, where it just feels like noise that doesn't really go anywhere. That's how this movie felt. It just didn't go anywhere. Like I mentioned before about long, meandering, meaningless shots, we had so much of that happening in here. It got super annoying. There was a scene where he is hiding the artwork, and it felt like there were pretty much no edits or cuts in that scene. It shows him going to this place, figuring out how to get up onto the second level of like this barn, animal shed or whatever, and it shows him doing the whole thing, figuring out how to get up there. He takes all of the art pieces out of the box he'd put them in. He takes them up one at a time or two at a time, whatever. You see all that. You see him then carry the box upstairs, and then you see him put all of the art pieces back into this box. Why did we need to see all this? We did not need to see all this. There are also some issues where at some point these people come and take him. Someone has ratted him out, and apparently they know where the art is. How they know where the art is, I have no idea, because he didn't seem to tell anybody where he had put it, but somehow these people that came and took him knew exactly where the art was. They went and got it and they took it out. These people I thought were mobsters. Deleted says they were supposed to be cops. I'm still not convinced, but whatever they were, it wasn't super clear. And I was thinking when they came and picked him up that there was, oh, we're going to see some actual action going on. No, they just took him there, got the art, took him back to where his little boy was or whatever. It's just... And then he continually does stupider and stupider stuff. In the end, and I'm going to spoil it because I don't care, in the end, he steals from this old lady so that he can get a ticket to go up to Canada, because this is in the 70s and people are running to Canada to get away from being drafted. And he gets caught up in this protest, or he hides inside this protest, this group of protesters, so that he can't get caught. But he ends up getting swept up by police and arrested anyway because they were breaking up the protest, and he's taken off. Okay, well, I was hoping that his butt could have been arrested and just this whole stupid movie could have been over with like 50 minutes or an hour before. So yeah, besides some of the stuff I've already touched on, the acting, which was fine, there were a couple of characters that he ends up spending time with, and they were played by Gabby Hoffman and John Magaro. Those moments in the film were probably the most interesting of the whole thing, and that didn't even last very long. And even though the actor who played the main character did fine as far as the acting, he was just like this wet blanket, this spineless nothing. He had no charm, no charisma, unlike the character played by Channing Tatum in The Roofman, which we had just seen the week before. Similar sort of situation. Idiot guy doing stupid things, taking shortcuts and trying to, get rich by robbing, stealing, whatever. But at least the character that Tatum played in Roofman was a more compelling and interesting watch than this lazy ass deadbeat. I was so ready for him to just go away. I was ready for that whole movie to be done with about 20 minutes in. Yeah, the characters are very thinly written. There were plot threads that were introduced and then just kind of abandoned. There's at one point where he's talking with the character played by Gabby Hoffman, and she mentions like this art professor was being his fence for this art that he had stolen. But that didn't really go anywhere. Like I said, confusion over who's who with the people that came and took him and got the art back. I had no emotional investment in these characters, especially this main character. And the abrupt ending that we're given is not cathartic at all. It doesn't feel like any sort of payoff. I was just angry that I had spent so much time with this terrible film. And when I leave a film angry, that's also not a good sign for what list that film is going to end up on. So that's about all I can say about The Mastermind. This film will very likely end up on my list of worst for 2025. I cannot recommend it unless you click very well with this director and this type of film. Otherwise, I would say stay away. I cannot even give this half a thumbs up. Just nothing but thumbs down. Okay. I've ranted enough, you guys. Bye.